A few weeks ago when I was hiking on Paraksan, a man said to his friend like, "Oh, you're waving like, oh, there are so many foreigners here," and I replied to him like, "Oh, actually."
You understand what they are saying?
Yeah.
Subscribe,
like, leave a comment, and press the bell.
Hello, this is an educational channel 백프로다. Today we'll have a talk about becoming good at Korean with Mandy Setters. Hello.
Hello. Hi everyone, my name is Mandy. I've been studying Korean for 4 years now. I majored in Korean at the University of Sheffield and now I live in Korea on working holiday.
How long have you been in Korea?
This working holiday visa, I've been in Korea since last August, so about 3 or 4 months. But I've been going back and forth from UK and Korea for about 3 years now.
How good were your Korean skills when you lived in England?
I majored in Korean at the University of Sheffield, but I'd only been studying for 1 year before I came to Korea on my year abroad. So at that time I really didn't speak Korean very well at all. I was only comfortable having long conversations about 3 years after I started studying.
Isn't it hard to learn Korean?
It is.
Definitely. What was difficult in the process of learning Korean?
I think particularly for Europeans and Westerners, because the origins of the language are so different. The hardest thing about learning Korean is that you have to learn a lot about Korean culture as well, while you're learning about this very difficult language, because the culture and the language are very interconnected. So there are lots of things in Korean that don't really exist in European languages. For example, Hanja.
Most Koreans don't understand the Chinese characters.
And things like the grammatical politeness, structure, and even things like body language are just so different.
Can you give me an example?
So for example, the Insa, like,
Insa.
안녕하세요, hi. 안녕하세요, hi, or this kind of gesture with your arm, or the way you sit and the way people hold themselves even is quite different.
Do you like Korean food? Do you like spicy foods?
Yes, I do like Korean food. I came to enjoy the taste of spicy food after living in Korea for a while, like ramen and tteokbokki, and so I can eat it, but I need to have a lot of water. It's delicious, but also uncomfortable.
Because it is spicy. And what is your favorite food in Korea?
Oh, it's definitely samgyeopsal.
Samgyeopsal.
Yeah, Korean barbecue. That is my favorite.
I heard you are studying for the Korean English proficiency test called TOEIC.
Yes.
How are you preparing for the exam?
I'm somebody who finds it really, really hard to stick to a routine of studying. So I usually like to study with a private tutor or a class as the most effective method, because it gives me like some feeling of consequences from an external person. So if you don't do practice questions or memorize vocabulary, you have to face accountability for that. And this is true for a lot of things in my life. For example, I attend exercise classes rather than going to the gym, because I know if I can just go by myself, then I won't do it. So everyone has a different learning style, and so for some people they can learn effectively by themselves, but the most important thing is just tailoring the learning style to the individual.
Have you had any strange experiences while living in Korea?
I have had some, yes. There was one time when an old man at a train station, he grabbed my hands and he came up to me like, 결혼했어요? Yeah, are you married? Whoa, that was too much, honestly. Other things, like in Korea there are lots of these kind of pseudo-religions, and many of them will target foreigners who live in Korea, unfortunately. So when I lived in Hongdae, which is one of the most popular areas for these people, when I would go to work, somebody would come up and try and bother me about their religion, and then when I would come back from work, the same person would come back up to me, and that was very ridiculous, I think. I've also had some experiences where restaurant owners or some other Korean people don't realize that I can understand them. And so sometimes if I go to a restaurant, the workers there will perform some kind of gestures for me to try and help me understand. You know, I had one recently where the guy put my food down in front of me and he said, "맛있게 드세요." that kind of thing.
Seems like you don't speak any Korean.
That kind of thing. Yeah. And there was one time a few weeks ago when I was hiking on Gwanaksan, and a man said to his friend, like, "Oh, 여기 외국인들 많죠?" like, "Oh, there are so many foreigners here," and I replied to him like, "Oh, 많지."
You understand what they are saying?
I can understand Korean people even when they are not speaking to me, which is which is maybe a bit something they don't expect.
The Korean wave is spreading all over the world these days. What do you like about Korea, Mandy?
It's really amazing to see like how far Korean culture is spreading. My favorite part of any like Hallyu Yongpum or anything like that is actually Korean movies. I'm a big movie person. I love Korean movies.
What is the most memorable movie?
I'd say I've seen some old movies. Like for example, I saw 올바탄 or 한여, the original version.
한여를 하나 구해왔어요. 좀 바보지만 이제 죽어. 아버지한테 가 일러.
I've also seen quite a lot of the Bong Joon-ho's movies.
Parasite?
Yeah, like Parasite or The Host or Memories of Murder. I think those are my favorite ones from him.
You are a big fan of Korean movies?
So there's a lot of Hallyu Yongpum stuff that is worth liking about Korea, like, you know, movies, K-dramas, cosmetics, things like that. But my favorite thing is definitely the kindness. My Korean friends.
Kindness.
They've really done so many things to help me in Korea, and it's made me feel so much more connected to the community.
Okay. In the future, what do you want to do in Korea?
Okay, so I have so many dreams about my future life. In my career, I'd like to work with translation or intercultural communication. In my personal life, I really want to create a community, a loving and supportive community around myself. And I think many young people these days, they have a lot of concerns and worries, like, will I be happy? Will I find love? Will I be financially okay? And you can't know. I can't know at this point, but I just want to try and find that out, and I might as well do that while I'm in Korea.
There are so many foreigners who want to learn Korean. Is there any advice you can give to them?
I think 3 things are important when learning Korean. The first is to find the study style that suits you the most, because everyone's different, so you're going to have a way of studying that might be different from other people's, and so just experimenting with that is really important. Secondly is trying to make some sort of goal for yourself or some sort of deadline, like setting your own deadline or just entering yourself for an exam, because that way you're going to have some kind of accountability. You're going to have some consequences if you don't fulfill your obligations by that time. And if you're someone like me who has a really hard time staying motivated, you can join a class or hire a tutor, so that you can have some sort of external person who's going to hold you to that accountability. And thirdly, I think just trying to interact with Korean culture as much as possible, and obviously you can watch Korean dramas or you can come visit Korea even, but I think the most valuable thing is probably making friends with some Korean people. Definitely, because that's going to help you not only linguistically, and it's going to help your motivation, and you're going to be able to learn a lot of culture through them as well.
Oh, that's great. This has been PaikProDa. Subscribe,
like, leave a comment, and press the bell.